Take two. Hey everybody, welcome to with an iwi. It's been over a year since Big Lang came together and we all created the Conlang community iceberg. And in that iceberg we talked about a few, not all, but a few of the oldest historically recorded conlangs. And that got me thinking about a few of them, so I decided to potentially do a little mini-series, starting first with the title of this video, Balaibalan. The further back you go in time, before the age of the internet, conlanging as a practice was a rarer and rarer phenomenon, at least recorded phenomenon. In this potential mini-series, if you like it, I'm going to look at some of the earliest attempts at constructing language in history and look into who made it, when was it made, why was it made, what's it like, was it a true, full constructed language, was it just a relax or something else entirely, and what does all that information say about the conception of language at this particular point in space-time and culture. So let's dive in to Balaibalan. Balaibalan is a lesser-known conlang from hundreds of years ago. It's one of the languages on the list of those considered to be the earliest recorded examples of languages being constructed. So, who made it? The creator of Balaibalan has been a process of elimination for a long time by scholars, but today there are two main candidates for the original creator. Now first there was a guy named Fazlala Astarabadi. I know nothing about Persian. These are so butchered that I might as well just say them in like an exaggerated southern accent just to further emphasize how little I am going to attempt to properly pronounce them. So apologies for you who are native speakers, but Fazlala Astarabadi was a rich boy born in the Timurid dynasty of Iran. He was born in around 1340, died around 1392. Astarabadi was best known for starting a mystic movement within Islam called Harufism. Basically, he was born into a family of rich judges, and when he was a teenager, he inherited a position as a judge. Early during his time as a judge, he met a strange, mystical man who made him have a vision, and then he went on some crazy numerology binge until he had enough to say that he started a movement that lasted for almost 200 years. Now, the core thought behind Harufism was that Allah reveals himself in the form of the word, and that the word could literally mean words. You see where we're going with this? Eventually his beliefs spread from Iran, Anatolia, and even Albania throughout the 1300s through 1500s. Now by then, the numerology and the belief in the magic of like literal words turned into a desire to create the holy language. But did he do it? I mean, not really. I mean, maybe he started it, but it was another guy who seems to have been the one to finish the job, if you know what I mean. And that person was, purposefully gonna botch this, sorry, Muyi Gulshani. Gulshani. I'm so sorry.
Mahi Gulshani.
Anyway, Gulshani was another rich boy, I mean, who else, who lived in the Ottoman Empire. He was born around 1528, almost 200 years after Astarabadi. Now, his parents were Iranians, and they were followers of Astarabadi's Harufi sect. Now, this kid, Gulshani, he was even more of a nerd than Astarabadi was. He studied languages all the time and wrote dozens of books. Now, one of these books is a quadrilingual dictionary between Persian, Turkic, Arabic, and Balaibalan. And then eventually people discovered a full grammar of the language, they didn't have any specific credits for it. It was written in Gulshani style, written with his handwriting, found amongst his possessions, and was from the same time, so, you know, he might have had something to do with it. Yeah, wild guess, I know. So, who actually made it then? From the contents of the text we have from Gulshani, it seems like it at least partially existed before him. The Harufi theorized that there was a mysterious true holy language, even holier than classical Arabic. And it seems that other Harufi followers, maybe even Gulshani's parents, had knowledge of some of the special code words that would eventually become Gulshani's Balaibalan. Now his version is either the only fully recovered text of Balaibalan, or he was the first to actually attempt to turn the numerology and mysticism around certain words and numbers featured in the Quran into an actual conlang. So, what's it like? Well, the phonology and grammar aren't very well transcribed, like, at all. They obviously didn't have the IPA in the 1500s, and the European scholars who, you know, took his texts and interpreted them also seem to have done so with zero knowledge of phonetics. To read the one full piece of text in Balaibalan, the Italian written book titled East and West tells the reader that consonants are to be read as in English, vowels as in Italian. The accent indicates long vowels, apostrophe is the Arabic ayn, z is Arabic's DH. Like literally written out as DH with no context. Now that last part, I guess I can assume means, yes, okay, so the letter Z is usually the, like the voice dental fricative in Balaibalan apparently. So I guess it could be worse. Oh, and the Encyclopedia Iranica contradicts East and West by saying that all the graphemes of Z are pronounced as Z. And yeah, to that I'm just gonna kind of shrug and move on. From what I can gather from that cursed Italian book, the phonology looks like this. The consonants apparently directly match the phonemes represented as consonant letters in the Perso-Arabic script, including a direct mimicking of like homophonic different graphemes. So there's 32 letters, but the number of phonemes is slimmed down from the fact that there are 3 letters for ta and za, and 2 for ha, sa, and a few others. So if we employ some Italian-style conjecture, we can assume the consonant inventory looks something like this. Pa, ba, ta, da, ka, ga, ba, ba, fa, va, sa, za, sha, ja, ha, cha, ja, ya, la, ra, ha, ma, na, and maybe like a wa or a va. It features a 6-vowel system, which is actually kind of interesting. It can be best conceptualized as 3 long vowels and 3 short vowels. Imagine long and short in quotation marks, because the only vowel that's explicitly split between long and short is a. So the vowels are a, I, U, and a, e, o. There's no way of knowing the exact phonetic transcriptions of these vowels, but due to some very Persian-esque diphthongs and consonant clusters, it probably attempts to match the phonetics of 1500s Persian vowels, if that means anything to you. The word order, according to East and West, is perfectly parallel to the syntax of the Arabic language, not so its morphology, which is rather different from the Arabic one. Now I guess that is to say that the word order is mostly VSO, because Arabic is generally VSO, with exceptions obviously. Maybe Balaibalan follows that VSO word order exactly. Now is it an a priori or a posteriori language? It looks, for the most part, like it is a priori. The majority of the words are made up, with each consonant supposedly having some meaning associated with them to contribute to the overall word. Again, based on numerology and examining words and sounds within the Quran. Now, however, many of these words also seem to have their origins picked from Turkish, Arabic, and Persian words. Not a majority of them, but a significant percent. It creates an interesting mixture between a priori and a posteriori, though it's definitely mostly still a priori, by ratio, from what I've read at least. Maybe that's why Guljani's Persian, Turkic, Arabic, Balaibalan dictionary was made in the first place, you know? So, was it a fully fleshed out language, a relex, or something else entirely? I'd like to say that Balaibalan is a fully fleshed out language. The exact consonants require no alterations from the Persian script. You know, that makes it's still valid. It makes up a valid, if unexplained, phonology. The vowel system is actually pretty cool. You know, with the one length distinction just between and none of the others. The creation of the words was inspired by Arabic, but was mostly a creative process, and there must have been meaning behind the Persian, Turkic, and Arabic loanwords. I'm not going to claim to be an aficionado of the intricacies of the Harufi sect of the 14th century, so I'm not going to dig into it. Feel free to look into that on your own. I'll have my sources in the description. Alright, I shall now attempt to read out one of the biggest complete texts written in Balaibalan. Since it is a religious text, it is a prayer, so yeah, enjoy a prayer. Bashan Nayan Ayafnan Ayahaban Yasnam Rayan Chuna Wazanas Ragyuzawa Inasha Fajah Afajash Famima Ifamna Ra'alabi Qaya Ayirfam Aimafam Jahmaknad Sanash Zat Jamma Inanshana Aych Shana Ayarmakri Alam Nabi Chunaya Rai Karfuna Raya Yashna. And just a reminder, these pronunciations I used are just an approximation based on what I could research. Nobody actually knows what the sounds are supposed to be like 100%. So, remember that. So, lastly, what does Balaibalan say about the perception of language at this specific range of space-time and culture? It seems that, to Gulshani and his predecessors, the concept of creating a language was within the same category of like divine inspiration as numerology and astrology. Making up a language was an act of trying to decode the word of God in the form of literal words, just like numerology saw specific numbers and sequences of numbers picked by chance divination, or looking for the frickin' Illuminati triangle in the corner of each page of the Old Testament. Now, Gulshani made a whole dictionary for Balaibalan, implying that he considered it to be comparable to the natural languages of the time, but just holier. It was a common conception at the time that since the Old Testament was written in Hebrew, the New Testament in Aramaic, and the Quran in Arabic, that the next big revelation from God would come in the form of a new language from somewhere in the Fertile Crescent area. The Harufi may have just been trying to make that language themselves before somebody else got a revelation first. But hey, that's just a thing. Yeah, I'm not gonna finish that. Thanks so much for watching. If you like my content, make sure that you've liked the video, done the old subscribe, and maybe consider becoming a matron on patreon.com/nga. I'd appreciate that. For as little as $1 a month, you can help me decrease the severity of the money dump that this channel has become, and you can get some cool benefits like suggesting videos, seeing behind the scenes content, getting a secret chat on the Discord server, and including some special content at the end of my videos. This time we have Yeah, nobody. Let's get enough patrons so that I can start doing that segment at the end of every single video. Also, remember, the Cursed Conlang Circus is still accepting submissions until November 1st. I've already seen some disturbing submissions so far, and I want to be truly horrified. Lay them on me. Don't hold back. That's it for me. Nga is out.